Right, I'm your host, Dr. Giggles, and I'm here with Lew Temple.
Hey y'all, you know me as Axel from The Walking Dead, but I've done some other things, and I'm just happy to be amongst the Coaster Association.
Yeah, so speaking of The Walking Dead, what was that like being on that show?
Well, first of all, it was such an honor to be part of what is an absolute phenomenon. The show is incredibly popular. I don't have to tell anyone that. It's a lot of work, and when I say that, I mean it. It's a great time. We have a lovely, fantastic time, but everybody works hard because we only have a 10-day schedule every week to put these wonderful episodes out. So we're hustling, and that's 8 days out of 10 that we get to work. So we are hustling hard to make that happen. And one of the things that struck me on my very first day on set was the attitude and the close-knit family approach that builds the show, and it starts at the producer level, the directors, the cast, hair, makeup, wardrobe. Everybody goes to work as if we might get canceled. Nobody rests on their laurels from the week before, the season before, and there's no hierarchy of divas or pecking order, so to speak. So what is it like? It's like being on a world championship team. It's like playing for the Lakers or the Yankees, you know, or the Denver Broncos or the New Orleans Saints. Who knows? But it's really wonderful to be part of something that's so special, and so I feel like that was just a gift and an honor. Yeah.
Now, Axel, if I'm correct, I never read the comic. Is Axel based off a character in the comic?
He is. Axel is in the graphic novel Walking Dead, written by Robert Kirkman, who is also the executive producer of the television show. And that's the blueprint, sort of the Bible, if you will, of the show. And the first 3 seasons, I feel like they being the producers and the showrunner and the writers, have stayed true to the comics to a point, but have not been afraid to veer off.
Yeah, because I mean, if they went play by play in the comic, I mean, it would be cool to see it unveiled on screen, but everybody would know what happened.
I always offer the idea that the comics are a 2-dimension. You know, they're actually 1 dimension. It's just the page you're looking at. As we do film and television, we become a 3-dimension. We have a side, a left side, a right side, and a behind and a front, and those are sort of our 3-dimensional characters. And then the 4th dimension is you, the audience, and that's how I refer to the fans, as the audience, because to me they're part of the show. It's a very participatory type show, and I sense that the audience informs the show just as much as the show informs the audience. So Axel was in the comic books, very gregarious, large, probably physically a larger person than I was, more of a biker, Viking type of a guy. So I was very aware of him and very aware of his colors. I just wanted to sort of paint and draw with some other colors, and I feel like I may have brought a little more humor to the show.
Because as you progressed, you know, in season 3, as you're just going along, bang, 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 and then the character dies, and I was like, you were finally kind of opening up like to Carol, and then it was bang, and I'm like, no!
It was a gut punch, and we accomplished what we'd set out to do, which was to really pull the carpet out from underneath the audience. It was a time in the season that the show felt we needed to send a message to the audience. It's not a safe environment. Nobody get too comfortable or too attached. When they brought that to me 3 weeks in advance that this was going to happen, of course you do your denial dance, and you try to come up with other options for them, and at the end of the day you have to commit to your job of telling the story. My job of telling the story was to take a bullet in the head in that particular instance, and they were very kind to allow me to get involved with how that was going to play out. And we decided that what we really did want was a real punch in the nose, and I'm really proud with how we were able to execute that. I thought we did a great job.
Now, speaking of your death, did they give you a death dinner, or have you been to any death dinner? What are those
I have
like?
both been to death dinners.
And what is that like?
And I have received a death dinner. Well, the death dinners are, they're very familial. They're very communal. You're at a dinner with your cast, with the producers, with the directors and the writers of the show, and you're sitting at the head of the table, not unlike I am, and everybody really is attending to you, and you're going over memories of good times and memories of bad times, and it's a little bit of a talk about what you're going to do in the future, and then you are excused when the check comes around. It goes right by you, and that is delightful because you're not in your pocket for a hundy.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But if you're participating as somebody you're throwing in to help pick up a tab, it can be very sorrowful. Typically, there's several tears shed because it's not just a character leaving; it's a person that's not going to be part of your family every day that you've seen for months and months on end, and that you're close to. And so there's definitely an element of sadness, and then a happiness. I tried to give mine a kick and make it very pleasant and happy. Nobody wants to leave. There's nobody that wants off the show.
From the special features you see on the DVDs, and if you go on AMC's website, you can see a little behind the scenes. It looks like, yeah, it's a lot of work, but it seems everybody's as one, and everybody's having fun, even though it's a lot of work, but...
Yeah, make no mistake, it doesn't suck. It's a great job. And the idea that we are working hard and accomplishing something where we're all at task and we all feel that we're pulling our weight and we're engaged in what we're trying to do. And I think that's a big part of the success of the show, is that everyone is treated as an equal. Everyone's brought in as an equal. It's a very magnanimous group that invites you in to be part of The Walking Dead, not to become sort of a job in contract labor and then you're out. You're brought in to be a spoke in the wheel, and it's a rare occasion, but it so works. I think the proof's in the pudding in the form of the show every week.
Good. Jeremy, is that still recording?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, so the next question I have is, are you working on any of future projects?
I'm working right now. I'm on a film in Miami. I'm on break right now, but I'm on a film called Overtown, which is a action thriller, suspense drama, very Tarantino-esque, directed by a gentleman by the name of Seth Silvera, and this is a movie about kind of a lower income area in central Miami, right in the heart of beautiful Miami, where there's a lot of drug use, and it's a family that's trying to get themselves out of that, and they make a decision to maybe borrow some of the cartel's paraphernalia, some of their supply, and sell it. It's never a good choice. It never works, does it?
No.
Don't steal. Don't steal from drug dealers. They will be unhappy, and they will execute their own style of justice, and that is what the film is really about. So that's delightful. I'm doing that with a young lady named Kelly Overton from True Blood. She was also in Tekken. There's a young man that we're breaking into the acting business named Chad Johnson, formerly Ocho Cinco, the wide receiver, yes, and he's delightful to be with. We've got Danny Trejo and Vinnie Jones and C. Thomas Howell and Michael Anthony Hall. So yeah, it's a nice cast, and it's great to shoot in Miami. It's a beautiful, beautiful
place. Do they have a roundabout time when that's gonna?
It'll be a year. Yeah, it'll be a year. I have a movie coming out right now called Night Moves with Jesse Eisenberg, Dakota Fanning, and Peter Sarsgaard.
Wow.
It's an ecological terrorist type movie. A group, threesome, decide they're going to blow up a dam to show the government that dam is affecting the environment, and in doing so they kill a camper, me. And out of their guilt and remorse for having done that and not trusting each other that you're not going to go to the cops, they start attacking each other. And that's a beautiful, beautiful story directed by Kelly Reichert. I have a movie, I have 4 movies submitted to Sundance. It's coming up this January, and I hope all 4 of them are accepted. One is called A Fighting Season, which is a military movie. Hurt Locker meets Training Day, where a young soldier is back from the sand, from Afghanistan after being shook. He suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, and they're trying to reassimilate him and put him through a recruiting office, of which I am the leader, and he finds out the war at home is just as bad as the one abroad, because there's a lot of lies and falsehoods told and a lot of abuse of government authority. I have another movie called Wicked Blood, which is Breaking Bad meets Winter's Bone. Again, a little bit of drug use, crystal meth in this instance. Little girl, played by Abigail Breslin, is trying to get her uncle, played by me, off the junk and out of this situation, this environment, and she does it through the blueprint of a chess game, and she's trying to outdo her other uncle, played by Sean Bean from Game of Thrones. He's delightful. And it's called Wicked Blood, and I'm really excited for that. Also in that is James Purefoy from The Following and Alexa Vega. And then I've got a movie called The Grace of Jake coming out, which I always reference as, you remember the old song that Johnny Cash sang, A Boy Named Sue?
Yep.
That is where he's coming home to have a bit of a tussle with his father for having named him Sue. This is about a boy that's come home. He's a man now, and he's in and out of prison, and he's coming home to take care of his father for having left he and his mother at an early age, and he comes to find out miserably they're the same. And that's called The Grace of Jake, and I do that with a gentleman, Jake Labatz, and this director that I adore named Chris Hickey, and Jordan Sparks from American Idol fame.
Yeah.
Is in that movie. And then there's another movie called Camouflage, which unfortunately is about the incident in Colorado with the shooting up of the movie theater. Come to find out, a lot of those people have been advised through college counseling, because our college counselors are now contracted out onto internet access, and that had been infected by a terrorist sect, and he was advised to go do that, and this is the story of that, and meeting the advisor. Take bullying into your own hands, get a gun, and shoot up a bunch of people. That'll teach you. And that's a sad story, but one worth telling. And then I have a movie coming out next week called Zombex, and this is a zombie movie, conspiracy theory that what happened in Katrina was all done by the government. That whole thing down by the Superdome was some pharmaceutical drug test market that went rogue and caused people to eat each other, flesh-eating zombies. And I play a DJ who uncovers that and calls the government out on it. Malcolm McDowell's in that with me, and Sid Haig, Tom Araya from the band Slayer, and John Doe from the band X. So that's exciting, and I'm kind of excited for that one as well. My buddy Jesse Dayton directed that. And let's see, I've got a couple other things coming up, but I'm staying busy. I just opened Rob Zombie's Great American Nightmare, which is his theme park horror amusement maze. And I just did that. It's out in Pomona. So anybody that wants to get a good feel of Rob Zombie, this thing's a lot of fun. I mean, it's actually like a lot of fun.
You did Devil's Rejects.
I have done Devil's Rejects. I did Halloween for him, and Super El Bisto also. So
yeah, those are 3 great movies.
I've done my Rob Zombie, and I'll continue to. I adore Rob. He's incredibly intense, but also very focused, and every day is a good day. He knows what he wants, and he wants what he knows, and believe it or not, he gets it. So so he's a delight, and I look forward to working with him again.
I know, because when I saw you on The Walking Dead, and I'm like, that guy looks familiar.
Right?
And then, like another day or so after that, I put on, I'm like, there he is, he's in Devil's Rejects.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
Old Adam Banjo. That's right. That's right.
And how was that filming? I mean, that scene inside the motel.
Fairly intense. Yeah, really intense. And there were a lot of moving parts, obviously, a lot of great actors in the room, and a great director in Rob assembling all that, trying to get that done. So there were all types of different elements, from the break into the room to executing Brian Posehn's character, our roadie, to getting my wife totally naked, full frontal out of the bathroom, to accosting Priscilla Barnes with the gun barrel, oddly, a little creepy, to then taking us out to go and dig up some guns to end in our untimely demise out in the chicken ranch, as we call it, which a lot of hard work. It was all done in a very tight confines, heat of Palmdale, California, miserable place, perfect for what was going on.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite scenes. That whole thing. It was a
great day, and the fight scene that where Bill Moseley, his Otis, kills us. That took 2 days, and it was a lot of work. You know who the stunt coordinator was on that is Kane Hodder, who's here at this show. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I'm sitting in Worcester, Massachusetts. How do you say it?
Worcester.
Worcester. You Worcester. And we are doing the Rock and Shock. I love this show because it incorporates rock and roll, heavy metal music, and horror films. So it's a perfect crossover genre. And I've done this about 6 years ago, and Gina, who runs this, is fantastic. So we're at the Hilton Gardens here hotel. It's beautiful, but tonight we'll be next door and signing and meeting all the audience.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. So I'm going to pull up a couple amusement park questions.
Okay, yay. Amusement parks.
All right. So, like I said, I belong to a coaster group called American Coaster Enthusiasts.
Okay.
They're mainly, it's a coaster group. When we go to parks, there's events all over the world.
Oh, wow.
But it's mainly into preservation, like the old rides that parks just love to rip out. Well, we try and fight to keep the knowledge,
maintain them,
and try to keep them in the parks and stuff. But it's a lot of camaraderie and it's a lot of fun. But
I assume that's not an easy task because every park is trying to compete and
try what's the
bigger
biggest,
and better.
baddest. Yeah. So I mean, a lot of the parks though, they do come to Ace for certain things and stuff like, especially like TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, I would think that there must be, a few parks that are very specialized in their 1930s wooden roller coaster.
Yeah. So, do you have? I mean, I know you travel a lot.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite amusement park anywhere?
I feel like most recently, I was telling you that I went to Legoland, and they have some fantastic rides. And it's a really friendly park, and it's very easy. I'm all about the ease and convenience. And the lines to wait on the rides weren't so bad. So I like Legoland for that. I'm a Texan, as you know, so Six Flags over Texas up there in Big D that's a big place.
Now, have you ridden the new Texas Giant?
I haven't. I rode the old one. The what was it called?
It was just called the Texas Giant.
Texas Giant. Where was the Gunslinger? They had one, and that may have been in Houston. I think we used to have...
Yeah, Astroland.
Astroland in Houston. That was an old one. And I think we had one called the Gunslinger, which was pretty good. And at the time, that was one that could make you a little queasy. Today, it might not be so.
Yeah, actually, 2 of the rides from Astroland ended up at Six Flags New England.
Oh, no kidding.
The catapult ride, they ripped that out.
Oh.
And they have the raft ride that went up and spiraled around.
Right.
Those 2 rides came up here.
Gotcha. Well, those were important parts of that part of the geography because, as you know, the Astrodome, the first dome stadium, the first place that had AstroTurf, these types of things were historic, and so I'm glad they're able to preserve just a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can hit that light. Just slide that up and we can get a little.
Get a little light.
Need a little light.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
That might serve you a little bit. Let there be lights, I say. So those are my favorite ones. Astro World was always a good place, a big date place, or you take your girl to. Astroland and see what she could stomach, and then see if she was a keeper.
Yeah.
So, but right now, I guess I do like Six Flags. I like water parks too. I know that they're not as roller coastery, but
Yeah.
I
I like the water parks.
I like some of the water parks because we have very warm summers all over the country, and it's nice to
And
get
the
out.
technology for water parks now is
Pretty high.
the floor drops out from under you.
Oh, yeah,
And you
bonsai?
just, yeah, bonsai pipeline.
Wow,
Yeah.
And so Six Flags is starting to put those.
I gotcha.
They're just crazy how some of them you can do a full loop in them, and
I was telling you before we started, I just went to California Adventureland, which is part of Disneyland in Anaheim, California, and they have some really magnificent rides. One of which is the Hollywood Tower.
we have that down in Florida. And
Yeah.
it's such a fantastic ride.
That to me that drops out from underneath you too. So yeah, those are some of my favorite parks.
Now, do you have a favorite roller coaster that you've ever been on?
Well, there's been some that weren't my favorite. I can tell you there's been some I wouldn't go back on. I feel like for some reason Space Mountain just is an old, maybe because it was probably one of my first ones that in my teens.
Yeah.
There's something about being in the dark and not, and going,
And you can't see
not
anything.
seeing,
Yeah.
I think is pretty frightening and thrilling at the same time. So maybe Space Mountain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Oh, well, I ride that one when I go to Florida. I've never
Right.
been to the one in California.
Yeah,
I was
it's-
going to last year, but plans fell through for me. And let's see what other.
Didn't we ride that?
Huh?
Wait, didn't we ride that?
What, Space Mountain? Yeah, you rode that when we went last year.
They're
You rode
pretty
that.
fun. That's pretty
Yeah.
fun. It's dark.
And I take him all. I take my son all the time.
Oh,
with
good.
me to
Yeah.
You
them.
mean
Good
both of
luck.
them?
Good
Yeah, both-
family bonding.
But you're the one that's here. The older one's not.
Yeah, because
Um,
he's at home.
Yeah, he's at Mom's house. So, but let's see.
Oh, let me check.
Have
let
you
me check
checked
how
out
much
the
minutes.
haunts?
Oh.
Walking Dead from Universal.
At
Studios?
Universal, interesting. I have not yet, but I must because they have an Axel attraction, and it is a zombie made up of Axel, looking like me. And interestingly, they have a young man who looks a lot like me, except his mustache is even bigger and his hair is even cooler than mine. So if that guy can act, I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm gonna go check him out. The Walking Dead is over at Universal. I've heard great things about it. I had to stand behind my man Rob Zombie and went and did his, which is great. He has one where you actually go out into a cornfield with a bag over your head,
Whoa.
and you can't get it off. It's zip tied on, and you are blind. You can't see, and they throw the lights down, but there's people that kind of push you along. Some of them just jump out and frighten you. It's pretty damn good.
Now, have you tried that out yourself?
Yes, and it was very unnerving, made you very uneasy, but then there was something that was so much fun, because you realized I am lost. I have no idea where I am, and I have no idea if I'm going the right way, and a lot of the times you're not. I would love to just watch people go through it, because you get turned around, they'll spin you around, when you start, and you don't know, and you're bumping into, it's a physical structure, and there's walls, and it's pretty good. It's really good.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Now, what got you into acting? Because when we were talking downstairs, you said you were in Double-A baseball.
Yeah, I was a baseball guy. I played all my life since I was a little boy up through high school. Got a college scholarship, went out, drafted by the Salem Mariners, played with the Astros, then went on to coach and scout, and was a career man in baseball. And then I followed a pretty girl into an acting class with a really nice pair of tight-fitting jeans in Houston, Texas. And I sat in the acting class, and then I realized, hey, I could do that. I've been doing that all my life, one way or another. I'm going to try that. And I sort of got bit by that bug. So I've had the good fortune of having two amazing careers that anybody would give their left arm to have one of. And I went and learned about acting later, and up at Brooklyn College, and small steps, developed my craft as you do, and anything that you have a passion for. And I always tell people, it doesn't matter what your passion is, but it's good to have a passion, because I think it gives you purpose, and purpose is a great thing for human in life. And that passion may be your children, or that passion may be knitting, or it may be roller coasters. So I say embrace your passage and lift it up with gusto. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, you have that passion. I mean, I always wondered, once in a while, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could act, and then I'm like, I don't know, I wouldn't even know where to begin. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
just one of those.
it's I think we're in a place now with the advent of the internet and YouTube and all these vehicles, sort of DIY, do it yourself. I think a lot of people are accessible to telling their story.
Yeah.
You know, what did Rango say, which is another movie I was in? No man can walk out on...
Rango the cartoon, right?
Yeah, I played Mr. Fergus, the keeper of the general store. It ain't me, Beans, it's Mr. Merrimack down at the bank.
That's him. He was in the movie.
And also Sergeant Turley with an arrow through his eye, just a little conjunctivitis, sir.
You know who he is?
Yes, so no man can walk away from his own story. So I feel like people that feel like they can act can tell their story. And acting is being, so if you have a chance to be or not to be, that's your choice. And community theater can serve you, or just small short videos. We see so much of it these days.
Anybody, you can make a hit out of a kitten.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, cat videos.
Yeah,
everybody loves them.
Yeah, I don't understand the phenomenon with cats.
I don't, but somebody likes it. You know, my granddad used to say there's a seat for every behind.
Yeah, there
And
is.
so take a seat.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I was looking up your filmography.
Yes.
You were in The Lone Ranger.
Just did The Lone Ranger, which came out earlier this summer. Yeah, played Hollis, the Ranger. Hollis rides in the posse. He's a Texas Ranger that starts out with our leader, Dan Reed, who is John Reed's brother. John Reed being the Lone Ranger, coming back from boarding school, educated college guy. And we sort of teach him how to be a cowboy a little bit, and we get ambushed in a canyon, and all of us fall to the desperados, and we are all gone except the one. And Tonto, the Native American, finds him, and he becomes the Lone Ranger. Great to work with Johnny Depp, my second. As I mentioned, I'd done Rango with him.
Yeah.
So Johnny is amazing. Armie Hammer, who plays the Lone Ranger, is fantastic, delightful guy. I mean, this guy can act, he can sing, he can dance, he's handsome, he's tall, he can throw a baseball, he can play guitar, he can ride a horse, he can fly an airplane. This guy's the perfect dude.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none.
The sweetest guy ever. I love him. And Johnny's great too, so it's such a delight. And the director is Gore Verbinski, who does all the pirate movies, and he's one of my favorite. I so enjoy working with him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have. Is there anything else you want to tell the audience?
I would say go to a theme park if you can find one. Sometimes this time of year, as we're throwing into the fall, we have our Halloween themes. You all know that. Sometimes when the snow comes and the parks close down, they got one open down there in Florida.
Yeah,
I'm
California.
Sure, and we have one in California. Come out and see us. Support our economy. We could use your taxes.
Oh, don't worry, they'll be out there next June.
And you want to check me out? I'm Lew Temple, actor, on Twitter, and Lew Temple on the Facebook. So it's been my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Jason. I enjoyed being here with the roller coaster enthusiasts, man.
All right, thank you very much.
Good on you.